I'll never shy away from the fact that I love point-and-click adventure games. In the past I have played many...
Groovy. Hello?
Scarfulhu, my dear friend. So, I hear you like point-and-click adventure games.
This is correct.
I'm coming over now!
If it takes forever, I will wait for you.
Oh, wait a second. He lives 4 hours away. Bollocks to that.
For 1,000 summers, I will wait for you.
Caddy, did you just shout me?
Yes! You can hear me?
Yeah, I kinda can.
Wow! Brilliant! This means I finally harnessed my telepathic abilities.
Wait, if you're telepathic, then why did you even bother trying to come over? And if we're having this conversation right now, does that mean I'm telepathic too?
You know what? I don't know. I know, right?
Who needs logic anyway?
I don't.
Me neither.
Agreed.
Well, if we're here, we might as well play a game.
A point and click?
Hell yeah.
Let's do it!
Broken Sword 2?
Broken Sword 2.
Roll title sequence.
And then Scarfulhu.
Greetings and salutations, my beautiful people, and welcome to the Caddicarus show, where I always have to do the dirty deed of deciding whether or not a game deserves to be slaughtered or salvaged.
Ah, hello there. I'm Scarfulhu. That's Scarf plus Cthulhu in case you were wondering. And yeah, I do game video stuff too.
And today, we're going to try something a little bit different this time round, because as it turns out, Scarfulhu and I both really like point-and-click adventure games, and after Broken Sword 2 made it onto my top 20 PS1 games countdown, Scarfulhu didn't realise I liked that game, or any kind of point-and-clicks, and it did kind of surprise him. So much, up to the point where we wanted to do a cute little review of it.
And so without any further ado, here is Broken Sword 2. No, not on the PS1, but on the beastly PC, because it'll be much better.
Fucking prick.
Broken Sword 2. Perhaps one of my favourite adventure games of all time, next to games such as Monkey Island. This was actually one of the first adventure games I ever played to completion, and boy was it a good one.
I will just say that I've never played any other Broken Sword game, and I've only played the PS1 version of this. I'm sorry, that box art still scares the bejesus out of me. Anyway, yeah, this is the only version that I ever played, so this whole remastered PC malarkey will be very interesting for me.
On the other hand, I first played this game with the original PC version, so the remaster is new territory territory for me as well. I'm just hoping they didn't tamper with the game too much.
But other than that, we kick off straight into the game. And I've got to say, you know when a game means business when the first credit is written in unformatted Arial font. And after a very pleasant series of animated events, the game kicks you in the balls and throws you into the deep end because this fucking icky thing is charging towards you at top speed. What do I do about a lot? But then once you come to your senses, you can mess around with the click mechanics, which are as follows. Left-clicking a highlighted object, character, or... allows our main character, Stobart, to interact with said thing. Right-clicking, however, offers a description of said thing, as well as a small analysis to hint you into a way it could be useful later on. Other than that, you do what you usually do in these kinds of games. Click on shit everywhere! Literally, just click on everything. Click here, click there, click upside down. Why not?
And then, if you're lucky, clicking somewhere with the correct thing at the correct time allows progression of the story. Just like here, where in order to dispatch this 8-legged menace, we can tip the bookshelf over by kicking its supports. The results of this are self-explanatory, but it's certainly satisfying just to watch that spider rupt into goo.
And now we can free ourselves from tied ropes with this jagged metal part of the wall.
With one mighty bound, our hero was free.
Yeah, he seems awfully happy with himself over that. And then, much like the click mechanics, they sort of work the same way around with the items that you pick up. Except you can left-click to drag items that you have into other objects in the game to see if they cooperate, and right-click them while they're in your bag to get a brief description of the item, and sometimes an examination of that item in order to find other items within that item. For example, things such as this.
The pot contained a key.
It's smart, isn't it? Well, I thought so, you dick. And also, later on in the game, mixing items in your bag also becomes a necessity. You better be thinking on your toes, lads.
But then, this is where we get to talk about the few decisions over the remastered edition of this game that we both feel don't really benefit it.
And first of all, before we mention anything else, these stupid bloody things. The comic book-esque faces that feel they need to make an appearance every time a character opens their drooling mouth. Don't get me wrong, I feel as though they add a little bit more variety and spice and animation to some of the slower scenes of the game, but at the same time, they could have been done much better. Look at his disgusted face. Do you see? He is disgusted. These certain turns of events have left him looking disgusted. It's almost like you reading Watership Down and needing a picture of a dead bunny on every page because, you know, just words are in no way satisfactory for conveying the message that Mr. Stobart is disgusted. I mean, look at some of these characters later on. As a kid, this guy used to terrify me, but now, look at him. He looks like he could be an uncle. I especially love it when his eyes open.
I'm certain my girlfriend was brought here when she was abducted. What?
And even look in this bit, their expressions aren't even remotely similar.
I think the most disturbing example of this is in the art gallery when talking to the two Japanese tourists.
By the way, not only are the faces weird, but look at this. They couldn't even spell phone correctly without putting that stupid symbol there and fucking it all up to high heavens and the kingdom of the Bibbles.
I have to agree that this remaster is slightly disappointing to me. Not only was it kinda unnecessary, but it twiddles with the game like George Lucas twiddles with the original Star Wars trilogy. Just leave it alone. It doesn't need this pointless fluff, and it's creepy pointless fluff at that.
And even though the voice acting has been beautifully remastered, there are some areas of the game where the muffling from the original version shines through, almost like they forgot to do certain bits.
I should have known you'd be trouble the moment I saw you. General, I am happy to report that I have apprehended the terrorists.
But anyway, enough focusing on the negatives and let's look at the positives, because the rest of this is
fabuloso.
Within the game, going back to item usage, it's never too easy going on what you can and can't do. I mean, sure, you can do things to progress the story, but the fact that you can also undo them straight away again leaves you thinking if it is indeed the right thing to do, or if it is the right time to do it. Like, just here, I can unlock the front door, fine, but then I can always lock it up again, so who knows whether or not I should do it at this point. It's a really smart mechanic, and in this case, it's also accompanied by a witty little remark from George.
Something possessed me to lock the door again.
That's clever. What isn't too clever, though, is this little problem that was also in the original, and that was with the voiceover being fucking buried in the other sounds.
There was no sign of Lobby when I got to the cafe. I decided to order a coffee and wait for him.
And to be honest, it isn't much of a problem with subtitles or these monstrosities up here, but at the same time, it's a little bit annoying.
As far as sound issues go, there's also a weird stereo issue where the game thinks it's tackling virtual surround sound, but there's no gradual panning in between the left and right speakers, so then the game ends up having certain noises and voices only coming out of one channel depending on where they are on the screen. Just stick some headphones on here and see what I mean.
I want the worthy successor, and you're not it.
Does Ubier employ a guy from Central America?
I also agree that this is a tad bothersome, but again, it isn't too much of an issue, it's just a vague annoyance. And it also doesn't matter because the music, where it needs using, is superb. It's full of atmosphere and threat right from the very get-go, and every little thing that you do wrong or right is either rewarded or punished by use of a great score. It's only used in snippets all throughout the game and it works perfectly.
There was something short, fleshy, and gross on the carpet.
Yeah, I bet there was! And also, this voice acting is, in my opinion, marvelous. It's full of cheese, but at the same time, it's bursting with character. Almost like fishy. And all the voice actors do a great job of being the characters that they are. Is it perfect?
That's a relief. I never feel comfortable with him about. Me neither.
These damn pants keep riding right up my butt.
Not in the slightest, but are the actors suitable for the voices? Definitely. And it makes the journey so much more fun. And what the holy hell is going on with that telly? And yet what else is fun? These puzzles and objectives. Many of them require a moment to stop and think, others require lots of observational and memory skills, and others require actual quick reactions and a mishmash of all the other skills combined. Like for example, just here, you need to upset this old guy by talking about his past, meaning that his eyes get covered by his hands, meaning that you can steal his flask. Or even here, where you need to use dog biscuits to lure a dog onto a platform and then use a hook to dunk him into the docks and oh no! And sometimes it's something as simple as calling a waiter before he walks off. It's, what do you say?
Fabuloso!
Something which I have noticed a lot in this game is that you're often a nuisance to other people.
Hey, get out of there.
You know, wherever I go, I hear those words. Paris, Syria, Ireland, or Spain. Makes no difference.
For example, there's a part where you need to set a bush on fire to fill a treehouse up with smoke in order to get the attention of a priest. That's not exactly a nice thing to do now, is it?
And what else do I like about this? The writing. Not only in the story, but some of these lines are just fucking brilliant. The dry and grounded wit of nearly every single conversation is something absolutely glorious to witness. I mean, just check out some of these lines.
Look at this. A poison dart. Knocked my girlfriend out cold in a matter of seconds.
Sounds like a real close relationship you have going.
The stench of cheap cologne rolled over me like tear gas.
That dart was sharper than a mosquito's business end. One of the reasons I hate guns so much is the way they make people so damned impolite. I glanced over the books, vaguely hoping to find a copy of How to Deal with Poisonous Spiders while tied to a chair.
I'm looking for an official guide to take me to the old pyramid.
For a lovely lady, I would go to the ends of the earth. For you, I will go as far as the pyramid and back.
Our stage name was Carol Climax.
Ha! That's funny! The talented writing also shines through in the story when you find out that the big bad avatar boring man 9000 over here is
Smuggling cocaine.
and everyone at home is asking the question.
Why are you so interested in that stone?
It's just twist after twist after twist. And as it is with point-and-click adventures, the story is the driving force behind the whole game, so it's great that the story and the writing is full of intrigue, mystery, darkness, action, and dry humor. And it also benefits everything in the long run when every single character you bump into is quirky and interesting. Be them a bit.
George!
And a little bit.
No.
And even George can be a little bit.
One thing I really love about this game is that certain items such as the dog biscuits and the thong can be offered to people for some hilarious dialogue.
Would you be interested in these panties? They look about your size.
Put them away before you get overexcited.
I have these very exotic panties.
Take them away, you pervert!
Would you like a dog biscuit?
Would you like a smack in the mouth, Chico?
What do you think of these panties, Dwayne?
Lord! Hot stuff, George. You buy those for your girl?
No. A guy we know in Paris bought them for her.
Oh, you're a threesome then.
The best part about these is that they are completely optional, really. You can go in being all no-nonsense Mr. Serious Pants and focus your efforts on actually beating the game, or you can go around and offer weird items to people. It does nothing for progression, but it's just brilliant to see how each character responds.
Oh, and by the way, did I mention the visuals? Fuck me sideways, the visuals are gorgeous. Look at the detail here, it evokes so much out of me that I can't even possibly describe it. There isn't a single thing I can criticize about it. I wouldn't add a single drop more. It's just
fabuloso.
Walking around a dark and mature cartoon story has never felt quite as exciting for me than with this game. And the visuals really drive everything along perfectly along with the characters and music.
The combination of visuals and music is some of the best I have ever seen in a game. It makes it all the more immersive, and it makes the whole experience just that much more complete. Complete with a little pink bow on top.
Also, some people may criticize point and clicks where the items are highlighted, but look at these guys. Even with the blue rings over here, shit like the hook down down here is not easy to find. And even the bottle down here. Yes, amongst all this shit.
And check out these scratch marks. Even after you turn the lights on, they're still close to impossible to see. And when you eventually do find something as silly as this bottle, for instance, finding out what you do with them is another mystery.
But if you haven't got that much of an inquisitive mind, the game has some hints built in, and they're also in categories. The more hints you want to use, the more obvious they get. It's very cute and it's very handy if you ever get stuck. But who does that? I want to beat the game myself, Ruffle, lol, YOLO, swag. But more to the point, these puzzles are things that simply never age. No matter how many times I come back to this game, I get stumped on so many bits. They're just so devious and well constructed that they never age, even after its release date of 1997, which not many games can hold proud today. Upon replaying, there's the bit with smoking out the hut and the chimney with the bottle, and it really did take me a while to piece everything together. Going back to items again, there are some very handy items that come in use throughout the whole game, but then some items that appear to have infinite uses can actually only be used at one point, so don't get too cocky with assuming that items are usable everywhere.
One thing I'd like to say is that I love how creative some of these puzzles are, even if they are fairly straightforward. One that really stands out to me is the way you get rid of the goon at the warehouse. First of all, you lead him outside. Then, you climb up towards this barrel dispenser majiggy, and releasing one sets up the perfect position for you to experience how it must feel to be Donkey Kong. This game is also great not only with the items and click interface, but also the conversations and conversation trees you can produce, making every playthrough different each and every time. If you're talking about a certain subject, you can instigate it further. Or not.
It's completely up to you. But just so you know, vital hints from characters can be missed or completely forgotten by not exhuming the correct amount of oral sensitivity, and in some points of the game the characters have different reactions around George, depending on what he talks about or even does around them first.
You could at least have helped me before grabbing everything you could find.
And that dog that I dunked earlier, he will be missed. Poor old 20. I wrote him a song of woe and a song of tribute to a true people's poet and all-round American hero. Ladies and gentlemen, the song of the century.
820, 820, 820, 820, 820, 820.
Oh, and I can finally talk about the mother-humping deaths. Oh lord, they're glorious. Yes, if you aren't a quick clicker or quick thinker or just have a knack for pissing everybody off ever, then this will probably happen to you. You need to stay on your toes with the whole story, even for a point-and-click adventure game. It's not as simple as making a wrong move or clicking on the wrong thing, it's a case of not acting fast enough to stay safe. And I love that. Well, I also love that.
There's also one part in this game where the potential of death is particularly unnerving. So you're playing as Nico at this point, and you're at a boat in London. You need to gain access to this boat, but there's a guard patrolling, and therefore you have to plan your movements and actions quickly before he sees you. It's actually quite terrifying. There hasn't been any other adventure game which makes my heart pound like this one did here. But it doesn't end there. Once you're inside the boat, you get attacked by the grumpy military dude, and oh my god, this game can be so tense.
And finally, despite never playing the first one, the game's story and characters are perfect for newcomers as it allows you to enjoy the whole experience without any research. Sure, it helps a little bit if you do research it, but in terms of this game, the backstories and events leading up to the start of the story are actually all discoverable through neat little comic book passages unlocked as you progress. Not only that, but as you play, the game's chronicles are all written by George himself in his own journal, so you can always have a quick catch up at any point.
Other than that, you can dive into this game completely uneducated in surface, fruitful and wise, whilst loving every second of it. That's what I did, as this was my entry into the series as well. And what a magnificent entry this installment gave.
It's simply and utterly
fabuloso.
If you haven't played Broken Sword, definitely do. And if you want to play my favourite, play the second one.
I would probably put Broken Sword 2 on a list of my favourite adventure games of all time. It's just so quirky and fun. Not only that, but the game was a commercial success too, with over 1 million copies sold. And considering this game was released at a time when adventure games were starting to die off, that is pretty damn impressive, and might I say, very well deserved.
The mechanics are simple and fantastic, all the characters are memorable, it's chock full of brilliant puzzles, the music cues are perfect, it looks gorgeous, and it's all woven around a great story. The remastered version of this game for PC is out everywhere now, and it's even available in disc formation with the other 3 Broken Sword titles. And you know what? It's also cheap as well. So in those circumstances, there's not a single shadow of a doubt in my mind, Shadow of the Templars, that this game gets the salvage. And you know what? Even the PS1 version of this game gets the salvage as well, because even for the limitations of the PS1, it's still a brilliant game. Also, now that I think about it, I can use this telepathy for something a little more destructive.
Wait, I know it's customary for you to shoot all your special guests, but, you know, you can never shoot me. I live over 4 hours away. That's physically impossible. What are you talking about?
Video then, happy frickin' birthday to you, and please remember to stay beautiful.